Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is Polycrisis. I mentioned this briefly in another program, and just a couple of you emailed me and said, yeah, you're right, I never heard of that word. Well, I heard of it from the World Economic Forum. They're the guys that wrote it and come up with it. But we all better be adding that to our vocabulary, and we better be understanding the plan. Polycrisis. What does it mean? It means that they are planning repeated disasters, repeated problems, repeated crises with no justice. In other words, it's like a pounding on a society time after time after time from all different kinds of directions, as we're about to see today. But there's no justice. There's nothing correcting it. And so the beat just goes on, like the song says. Or we should say the beating goes on. And before I get started, I want to say thank you. You know, some of you people say, thank you for your emails. Some of you say, I appreciate your program. Thank you. Some of you say, I don't know how you do it. How do you stay sane living in such a negative world? Well, depends on how you look at it. Yes, sometimes it is negative, but I love it. I absolutely love it. I could probably make money, a lot more money, doing something else. But, 40 years ago, I fell in love with Bible prophecy. As a matter of fact, maybe I should take a second to tell you how that happened, and then we'll get on to the program today. So, right out of high school, I got a job selling heat and smoke detectors door to door. Yes, for 6 years, national champion 5 times. Literally, I would walk up and knock on a door, residential door. I don't know who's on the other side of that door, but about 2 hours later, I'd walked out with a sale. And in those days, I let it go to my head. I thought I was good. No, it was the Lord teaching me stickability, teaching me not to quit, teaching me to resist rejection, because he knew that down the road I would have to be one that would resist a lot of rejection. Because to do what I'm doing with Bible prophecy, when almost every church, almost every pastor, seems like the whole world is against what I do, I had to learn to take a lot of rejection. But anyway, Bible prophecy. So one evening I knocked, I can still remember the guy's name. I can still remember the guy's face. I knocked on his door and I said, I'd like to show you a little film on home fire safety, blah, da, 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 da. And he said, okay, I'll make you a deal. I'll watch your little film on home fire safety if at the end you also listen to what I have to say. And I thought, deal, bub, because you're already sold. And the arrogance, okay. But, I had to have that kind of arrogance to put up with that kind of rejection. Deal. Because you're already sold, bub, and you don't even know it. So I went in, I showed the film, I showed him my product, and at the end, he didn't buy. But he said, have you received Jesus? Yes, and I could even quote some verses. Grew up in church. But the church I was in had nothing to do with Bible prophecy. Now, I remember my dad from time to time would talk about, the Bible talks about the future. He was a prophecy student, but I only overheard snippets. And so he handed me a tape. He said, listen to this tape. And it was Pastor Jack Hiles out of the Hammond, Indiana Baptist Church. And the title was, The Buzzards Are Coming. And he began reading from Ezekiel 38 and 39. It was talking about how in the Battle of Armageddon, that there is going to be fowls that take 7 months to eat the people killed in that one battle. And he said, and reportedly, the vultures in the valley of Jezreel, where Armageddon takes place, are now no longer laying just one egg, they're laying 4 eggs. And so consequently, they believe the Armageddon battle might be just very close. Well, I was hooked. I thought, the Bible foretells the future? I got to check this out. So I dug out my Bible and I started devouring it. Everything that had to do with Bible prophecy. And of course, in the process, you got to read the other parts in between the Bible prophecy. So I started reading it, studying it, and I guess I'll go on to the next story. So I decided that Revelation 18 just had to be talking about America. Now, I'd never heard of Dimitri Duduman and Henry Gruber and none of that stuff at this point. This was like 1984, 5, somewhere in there. And I wrote up a paper about why I believe Revelation 18 had to be talking about America. And I walked out of the front door to go to work, and I had the paper in my hand. And I looked up, and there was a lady across the street just getting into her car. She wasn't even wasn't even in the neighborhood. But I said, "Are you a Christian?" And she turned around with this big smile on her face, said, "Why, yes, I am." I said, "Do you like Bible prophecy?" And her expression got even bigger. She said, "Why, yes, I do." And I said, "Well, would you mind reading this and tell me what you think?" And so she took it. And that evening I got home from work. And when I walked in, Leslie said, "What did you do?" And I'm thinking, now what? That's what it is when you're a man, right? She said, "I have been having neighbors call me all day long. You apparently handed around a piece of paper to everybody in the neighborhood, and they want you to teach them a class on Bible prophecy. They want you to start a Bible study." Really? Well, I did not know, but that was an invitation that was going to lead to full time in the ministry and where I am today. So we started a Bible study Friday night, and it was supposed to go from 7 to 10. Now we do one, which, by the way, here in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start up our Bible study again on Friday evening. And it'll go from 6:30 to 8. Anyway, well, from that, I got baptized in the Holy Spirit, and then God arranged me to meet Dimitri Duduman, then Henry Gruber, then Ron Wyatt, and then some years later, Bible Prophecy Club, and swallow that. So, now, why was I telling you this story? Polycrisis. It's repeated disasters where they continue to hit on a society to make a society change. Let's talk about it. Now, I talked about this a couple of days ago, but it's important. I need to briefly say it again. So, polycrisis is this. It is a crisis after crisis after crisis after crisis, year after year after year, increasing those crises until finally, at the end, there's a compliance. Do anything but stop the pain. Okay? And it's called the Hegelian dialectic. And this is where they take a thesis to make an antithesis, and that gives them the synthesis. Now, the way we say it is you cause a problem, you offer the solution you offer then changes society, and their ultimate goal is to get people to take the mark of the beast. Or you take a Christian society, you begin moving them away from Jesus, the Bible, and Christianity, until finally you have what we have today. In other words, it's like the old saying, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. So they have to break it and then bring it back anew, or ordo ab chaos, which means order out of chaos, a new world order that they bring out of a chaos they create. Now, with that in mind, headline: almost 2 tons of ground beef is now being recalled over a small sampling of E. coli found in some of the samples. So it goes on to say Elkhorn Valley Packaging is recalling 1.7 tons of ground beef. They don't bother to tell you how little of that ground beef they found, and who knows, maybe it was actually planted, or maybe there was no E. coli at all. But the point is, 3,400 pounds of boneless beef chuck was packed February 16th and shipped to retail and wholesale, and the states are connected: Connecticut, Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. Quote, "These products should be thrown away or returned to the place of purchase." My opinion, that is what you call polycrisis, no justice. And they never seem to find out how this happened. There's never any arrests. There's sometimes not even an investigation.
Today, we live in unsettling times. Have you ever wondered what you're going to do when food is no longer on the shelves? I'm Leslie, owner and founder of Joseph's Kitchen, and I want to show you how to make healthy, homemade, whole wheat bread for only a few $100s a year. At Joseph's Kitchen, our goal is to help you live a more healthy and prepared life. Our products are ready for everyday use, but are also designed for long-term storage. Whether you are looking to make healthy, homemade, whole wheat bread, or want to be sure your family is prepared, Joseph's Kitchen is pre-packaged to take all the guesswork out. We personally test each harvest to make sure you are getting the highest quality ingredients.
Are you and your family prepared for what may lie ahead? At Joseph's Kitchen, we are your farm-to-table alternative. Go to josephskitchen.com to order today. And be sure to use the promo code on screen to receive your free gift. Don't get caught unprepared. Go to josephskitchen.com now.
Next headline, loose barge carrying toxic alcohol compound partially submerged at McAlpine Dam in Louisville. Officials say it was carrying 1,400 tons of a toxic alcohol compound. The Louisville Fire Department hazmat team was called out, and they say, oh, no, not to worry. There's no impact to Louisville's water, the intake of the water quality. Your water is safe to drink. They say it is. But it would be a very good idea if you had a Berkey water filter. Again, polycrisis. Well, we don't know what caused it. We don't know how it happened. Leslie Johnson had a prophecy back in 2011. She says, the Lord says there's going to be something put into the water supply in many cities of the nation. People will begin to get sick, some will die. Get a good, reliable water filter. You will not be able to trust the tap water or the bottled water. You must get something to filter the water you are going to need. That's back in 2011. So if you want it, we suggest you go to prophecyclub.com. You click right here where it says Berkeys. This is what it looks like. Currently, all Berkeys are in stock. The one I have is this guy right here. It's the Crown. It has 8 filters. I recommend you get as much as you can afford, and also recommend you get some extra filters. That's at prophecyclub.com. Chlorine leak from biolab causes shelter in place. It says a chlorine leak from a biolab, and as a result, traffic was diverted to these various other interchanges. A visible vapor cloud could be seen in the area this morning, and air monitors confirmed chlorine in the air, and it's an inhalation hazard, and they received several reports of eye and nose irritation, along with the chlorine smell, and that is determined, but they've determined that the area is now safe. Crews were able to find the source of the leak, and state police says the cause of the leak was under investigation. So one place said we found the cause, and the other one, we don't know exactly how that happened. Or polycrisis. Train carrying hazard, but this is all the last couple of weeks. I know you're probably thinking, Stan, you must have done research over the last couple of years. Well, actually, I didn't do research on any of this. This came from you. Thank you for sending articles in to me. You are my best source of research. You find things by the Spirit of God that I would never find, never even know to think of. So thank you very much. Train carrying hazardous materials derails in North Dakota. Wait a minute. I thought that was up in Palestine. Yes, it was. As a matter of fact, there's been several train derailments here just lately. Well, are there that many train derailments all the time? Well, the truth is I haven't exactly researched that. My guess is no. Again, it's polycrisis. A Canada Pacific train derailed Saturday night, affecting 31 of its 70 cars and spilling petroleum used to make asphalt, hazardous materials, and it was up in North Dakota. Again, polycrisis. No justice. We don't know how it happened. No arrests were made, of course. At least 39 dead after a fire at a Mexican migrant facility on the U.S. border. Example of dangers facing those taking route to U.S. from Latin America. But the point is, dozens of lifeless bodies on the ground. You want to start making changes in a society, come up with dead bodies, just like happened in Nashville. Polycrisis, you see. Train hauling, no, we've already talked about a train. No, this is a whole nother incident. Train hauling, this time iron ore, with 55 cars derails in the Mojave Desert. Fuel was leaking from the derailed train. Again, polycrisis. No justice. Well, we don't exactly know how it happened. You don't know how 55 train cars derailed? You don't know how that happened? You don't know how... They can never find out what happened, you see. Update. Taliban releases video of fields of U.S. military vehicles, piles of U.S. high-end weapons, and a room filled with stacks of $100 bills. Joe Biden surrendered to the Taliban. Rather than destroying the equipment before leaving the country, Joe Biden surrendered nearly $85 billion worth of military equipment to the Taliban. Now, who would do that? I don't understand why words like traitor are not being used. What they did was basically hand $85 billion of our war equipment, and no, we're not talking about just little small rifles, $85 billion of our war equipment over to our enemy. Rest assured, this is not going to be just Taliban using this. They're selling it off, perhaps they're giving it off, but rest assured, those bullets are going to be coming back at us and our boys and girls. In fact, Joe Biden left 300 times more guns than those passed to the Mexican cartels in Obama's Fast and Furious program. The Taliban later released video of the weapons Joe Biden left behind and the room full of stacks of $100 bills. Here are some pictures. Again, polycrisis, no justice. Pictures. Okay, you're telling me it's cheaper to give it to our enemy than it is to bring it back home? I don't believe that. Okay, it's another lie from the devil. Again, polycrisis, no justice. There's no justice in this. Look at this, row upon row upon, and by the way, if you read the article, it's all sorts of things like high-end rifles, high-end night vision glasses, billions, $85 billion worth, and again, it's a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face to Americans. What are you doing? Why are you arming our enemies? I don't understand why the word traitor doesn't get hung on some of this stuff. It's not an accident, and it's not poor judgment. It's not even a mistake. It's an on purpose. Again, because America has has become the habitation of devils, the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird, Revelation 18. Because she saith in her heart, said a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine, else she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. Minnesota regulators monitor. You got to laugh at some of this stuff. It's not laughable, it's not funny, it's tragic. But at the same time, if you don't laugh with some of this, you go nuts. Minnesota regulators monitor a 400,000-gallon radioactive water leak cleanup. Good time to have a Berkey water filter, which, by the way, we got a big shipment in, so we got them. Contaminated underground water is being pumped through extraction wells. The water is being stored, which contains levels of tritium. To date, it has been recovered about 25% of the radium released and will continue recovery over the course of the next year. It is not clear what the cause of the leak was. Oh, surely not. You mean they couldn't find what caused the leak? You mean they couldn't find what killed all those chickens and all those turkeys? They couldn't find out what caused that E. coli in the beef? It is commonly created in the operation of nuclear power plants and emits low levels of radiation. But it's part of the polycrisis. We're going to keep hitting Americans with crisis after crisis after crisis with no justice. Two, this is different. It's not only a different article, it's a different train. It's a different train company. 2 trains derail in Washington and Arizona. That's 2 different ones. They're not the same incident. Cause of the incidents remains unknown. Oh, surely not. You mean they're not discovering? How can you see so many trains derail and not know what's causing it? I mean, I've never seen this in my life. Spilling diesel fuel, and it was not clear what caused either derailment. Think about it. Out of all of these 150 places where our food has been getting destroyed, chickens killed, turkeys killed, eggs killed, eggs killed, all of these, remember 150 of them. I can go back several of the programs. No one was arrested. Sometimes there wasn't even any investigation. 5,000 gallons of diesel. Why? We don't know how it happened. 5,500 or 5,000. Polycrisis. No justice. Now we need to worry about harmful forever chemicals in our toilet paper too. All toilet paper, including major brands sold around the world, turn out to have yet another problem in them called PFAS, short for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, also known as forever chemicals. These ubiquitous manufacturing chemicals have been linked to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and they cause decreased fertility. Have we seen a decrease in fertility in America? I know that my second son and his wife tried for over 10 years, could not have a child, finally adopted one. My number 3 child, my son, tried for, I think it was 8 years, and they were discussing possibly adopting a child. Finally, she just had a beautiful baby girl. Decreased fertility, hypertension in pregnant people, increased risk of certain cancers, developmental delays in children, ADHD, and then people that think that they need to change their sex and all kinds of crazy. I mean, I know of several people under 30, and several people have children that, I don't know another way to say it. It's like they're not normal. I wonder why. Low birth rate, hormonal irregularities, elevated cholesterol, oh, surely not. Reduced effectiveness of the immune system. And it says this PFAs are pretty much found every place. Soaps, shampoos, cleaning products, clothing, food packaging, plastics, firefighting foam, carpeting. Accident or on purpose, or polycrisis. Terry Saka, Cornerstone, assetmetals.com. So why should people go online or call you today?
Seymour Hersh, an amazing investigative journalist, laid out the case that the United States is the one that blew up the Nord Stream pipelines, hurting our very own allies. That is a nation that is desperate because their currency is on the verge of losing reserve status. That's not good for a United States dollar, and why we better be protected.
Terry Saka, Cornerstone, assetmetals.com. Give him a call or go online today. Cornerstone, assetmetals.com. Next is, I'll send you to EMPShield.com. If you use the promo word prophecy, you get a $50 discount. What is that? Well, it looks like this. This is the one that goes into a car, okay? And you put the red wire to the red side of the battery, you put the black wire to the black side of the battery, and the green one attaches to the body of the car. Then you peel it off right back here. Just peel that off, stick it inside of the engine compartment of your car. And the whole point is when the electricity goes off, or when some kind of a suitcase nuclear device goes off, this is supposed to be able to stop that device from destroying every computer chip in your car. Because if every computer chip is destroyed in your car these days, you couldn't possibly replace them all. Throw the car away. So, empshield.com, promo code PROPHECY.